So I just want to talk about the pedals we're choosing today. The Dunlop Wah, my Big Muff clone that's battered and war torn already. The Model M by Tone City, which I've done a video on. This is my vintage DOD stereo chorus that I've dressed up with the knobs and the tape and etc. And then my beloved first pedal that I ever bought was a Zoom 505, so I had to get another one. So I'm gonna be using this one for modulation today. Alright guys, time to make some kind of a DIY board. So what I did is I grabbed some pedals I had laying on the shelf. So we'll talk about pedal order and power, and then linking them together, and then just having a little bit of fun with building a quick pedal board. So usually the first thing you need is power. Definitely want to read all of the power needs. So that's 9 volts. And does it say how many milliamps? 300 milliamps center negative. 9 volts. That's like 50 milliamps. This is a fuzz I made, so I think it's something 9 volt. And this is actually 9 volt on the battery, but on the side is a special power need, which is the DOD, which will be on this pin. And I don't exactly have an adapter for this one, but I was going to show additional power needs. So with power, you kind of need to know what to power. You're going to have to power the wah. That's usually always a 9 volt. So usually want a good isolator, 9 volt power supply. Today I'm just going to use the daisy chain real quick, just to kind of throw this board together in under 30 minutes. Hopefully I'm not taking that long in the video, but I'm only going to be daisying 2, 3, actually probably 3 pedals. This one I already have powered. It's a 200 milliamp 9 volt to power just that zoom. But the fun part is just putting the quick pedal board together and sharing a video on it. So had this Dunlop wah laying around. I already have it kind of pre-wired to my guitar. So I'm going to use it first in the loop and work it first in the chain. So one way to do that to your pedal board, if it's wood, a pedal train, just a flat board and Velcro, you always want to put it bottom right if it's your first in your order. Typically that's where you want to put it. So I'm going to try to put it on this board, but I'm going to try to wire it where I can get the cabling through and hold it down until I get some zip ties, which I don't have supply of in my pedal board bag. But for now we're going to start with the wah, and then we're going to kind of do the fuzz next. And usually there's a fuzz relationship between wah and fuzz, and we'll get to that in a bit. It's going to need to be powered, so I'm actually going to center it. Turn this whole board here. If you hear some background, that's just Dan and Mick talking amongst themselves. I usually just put that on for ambience and inspiration when I'm building a pedal board. So fuzz next. We'll put that closer to the bottom. Then I kind of want to use like my overdrive, like my main overdrive. This one has a boost that's built into it, so I'm gonna go here. And then if I need to do something stereo, the reason why I grabbed my stereo, of course, it has 2 outs that'll be a mono and like a mono left and a right. And then I usually use that if I want to split up my modulation. And then I'm gonna pretend like my Zoom right here has like all the modulation. So if I have like a second set of modulation pedals. So right now, just want to kind of work on a layout. That's kind of the bigger picture, is doing the layout, and then we'll start having fun with all the cabling. So basically you want to look at your power needs on every pedal. So most pedals are always center negative, so you already got a pin that's going to be center negative, and it's already got a diagram where it's showing center negative, 9 volt center negative. This one does not show it. It was made in the 80s. This one was made in the 90s. I think that's right when they started showing the actual power needs of, see, it's 9 volt, 300 milliamp. That's a lot of juice. So that's what you want to look at for when it comes to the power needs of each pedal. So we're going to talk about wah, fuzz, overdrive, and then your modulation. So kind of want to look at it where you're working with the guitar cable. So if you have an instrument cable, guitarists are usually right-handed, so everything by tradition starts from right to left. So we'll start with the wah. You go from instrument to amp, so everything's from in to out. That's out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, and then out. Out. So we're going to talk about wah, fuzz, overdrive, and then your modulation. So kind of want to look at it where you're working with the guitar cable. So if you have an instrument cable, guitarists are usually right-handed, so everything by tradition starts from right to left. So we'll start with the wah. You go from instrument to amp, so everything's from in to out. That's out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, and then out. Alright, so this is the fun part where you get to play with the pedals. So basically you just test all the signal. Alright, wah's good. You heard fuzz. So that sounds good. Getting a good clean signal here. Alright, we're going to try to overdrive. Alright, that's good. See how much the boost is? That's the boost, and then chorus. Alright, so star of the show. Got it wired, pre-wired for the most part. So what I did, like I said, if you're making your own board, it's your board, do what you want. So coming from the guitar, we're going to go to the wah, and I was trying to make it from the wah to the fuzz, and then purple cable here, out from the fuzz into the overdrive, out from the overdrive into the chorus, and this is the fun part. So this is what's called the drive signal, and then we're going to split that out from the chorus into the dry amp. So we're going to pretend that this cable here goes out to a dry amp. So right now what you're hearing is actually this speaker cable, like if it were to be a dry amp. So right now that's my dry signal. If I were to cut this on, then it's modulated. So we're going to cut that off because not much battery left. Alright, so from there, that's what's starting like a wet dry setup. So coming from there, we can do into modulation. So say if I have a delay pedal, a reverb pedal, a multi-effect like a HX Stomp or some other effects that goes into a DI or something else that you want to record or anything like that, or to a second amp that does straight modulation. So that's why we're splitting from the chorus into here, and then this goes into your second amp, which will be your wet amp. So from the input of the multi-effects, we're going out into a second amp. So I'm going to pretend this is my second amplifier, and it will be the wet chain of effects. So right now this is basically what's called a wet dry setup. Alright, so here's the modulation.